I'm Dale Tanhart, and NASCAR has completely lost all control and is completely unhinged right now because of the NASCAR playoff system. And it takes away from what was a really good race and an amazing, heroic drive by Ryan Blaney, who punched his ticket to the championship in very dramatic fashion. Before I get into what we're all talking about, what we're all bitching about, let me talk about the two glaring positives we got from Sunday. Number one, Ryan Blaney walked it off in a way that makes the playoff system fun. Blaney fans are excited. I think also you got to consider the fact that he passed both the dominant Hendrick guys, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, in the waning laps. Like, he beat the Hendrick boys in basically the final 25 to 30 laps at statistically, their playground, as they've been so dominant there over the years. He passed both of them in a long run to win the race and win a spot in the championship for Phoenix in the most clutch fashion. Ryan Blaney deserves a tremendous amount of credit for an unbelievable drive after mentally he could have been completely out of it after what happened at Homestead last week. Number two, the racing was actually good. Goodyear did a good job, or a better job, bringing tires that had some wear, created some passing, and allowed for a better race, and not probably. It was for sure the best Martinsville race in the Gen 7 era. So they keep inching towards a little more wear, a little more fall off. We're due for some better short track racing in 2025. Now to what everybody's bitching about, rightfully so, the clear race manipulation by the 1 team, the 3 team, and the 23 team. Check out Andrew on Twitter. This guy posts every critical onboard with radio communications after every single race. As of Sunday night, he's already got Bubba's on board with radio, Dylan's on board with radio, and Chastain's on board with radio. Check him out on Twitter. This is critical information that could help you make a basis on what happened with the probable race manipulation by several teams. Andrew on Twitter, dude's a machine. Now, the main fundamental point in all this, you're going to hear a lot of opinions this week, but the number one fundamental flaw with all of this is the fact that it is just so difficult to have a race in NASCAR in 2024. As I've kind of grown, like back in the day, or at least, before 2018, as a NASCAR fan, as a diehard fan of Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon, and a big-time Jimmy Johnson hater, I didn't care what happened. I didn't care what format we ran. I didn't care if we ran figure eights. As long as Jeff Gordon and Dale Jr. were winning and Jimmy Johnson wasn't, I was happy. And as everybody's come and gone and retired and Jimmy's still doing whatever he's doing, I've realized that I've simplified as I've gotten a little bit older, and I just want to see a race. Now, if we talk about a playoff system, I'm all for a chase for the Cup. I thought that was the best of both worlds. 26 races reset, 10 races to determine a champion. But now, with how chaotic NASCAR is today with the playoffs and their officiating, like, I swear to God, man, that tower has just got to be the star of the show every week or every other week. They just cannot go 2 or 3 weeks without having to be involved. And it's really frustrating. But the playoffs and the officiating just make it a hassle to have a race anymore. And fundamentally, as a race fan, I just want to see a race. And Martinsville was a good fucking race. Had to be overshadowed by playoffs and officiating. And within that frustration is the fact that NASCAR is trying so desperately to appeal to other sports fans with their system, with their formats, and make them become race fans because the formats are similar, right? Well, yeah, we're learning more and more that it just does not work with racing. And at the end of the day, what we're doing every single week is making everything a Game 7. Now, as a huge football guy, as a guy that watches other sports, basketball, I watch baseball in the playoffs. I'm a sports junkie. I will watch basically any sport except the WNBA. But most sports I watch at some point and have a big interest in. And what our leadership just doesn't realize is Game 7s are cool and special because they don't happen often. Like, they are unique. Game 7s are virtually the peak of competition between two competitors at the highest level, to where they come down to a natural tiebreaker. Key phrase, natural tiebreaker. That's what a Game 7 is. It is the most natural tiebreaker in professional sports. And what NASCAR has done is make Game 7 last 3 weeks of the season, last 6 weeks of the season. Hell, really, when we talk about the playoffs, it's fucking Game 7 the last 15 weeks of the season. Because all we're talking about is who can win and get in? Who can win and get in? Who can walk it off? What are we doing? Like, this is Game 7, non-fucking stop, and it doesn't happen naturally at any point. 2011, Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards, battle for the championship. That is a natural Game 7, okay? That is 35 races of points building leading up to a natural Game 7, which is why it's a historic Hall of Fame race. Now, considering the clear race manipulation by all these teams, I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that Christopher Bell was NASCAR's scapegoat. Christopher Bell accidentally hitting the wall ride was the greatest thing that could have happened in NASCAR because it allowed them to make an easy decision. It was their easy way out to say, Byron's in, Bell's out, he violated a rule. And for them to wait for 30, 40 minutes to make that call, and then Elton Sawyer says in the press conference after that, they didn't even look at the footage of drivers clearly race manipulating, teams race manipulating. Okay. Christopher Bell was their easy way out because they didn't have to answer to any of it. Now they can sleep on it for 3-4 days before they make a decision. But just remember, in all of this, they buried Michael Waltrip Racing for this 11, 12 years ago, which some people say the penalties they put on MWR needed to happen to put your foot down like it's a big boy call. But just remember that. When Michael Waltrip Racing questioned the integrity of the sport, NASCAR fucking buried that team. They were gone within like 2 years, 3 years. So just think about that when we see what NASCAR makes of what happened on this past Sunday. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't know what NASCAR is going to do. I have a feeling that the penalties are not going to be that bad. And if that is the case, not only has NASCAR lost all control, but they have lost all care. Like, they don't care about lack of integrity anymore. They're fine with this. They're so infatuated by their playoff system and their Game 7s that they manufacture for the final 15, 20 weeks of the season that they don't even care about what lengths teams are going to go to create Game 7. It's tough. I've never been a direct playoff hater. I've always been a chase for the cup truther. I think the chase for the cup is the best thing that could happen. Now, MWR happened in the chase for the cup era, so this type of race manipulation thing can happen anytime, right? But it's up to NASCAR to put their foot down and fucking bury somebody to make sure it doesn't happen again. So if there's anything that you take away from all this, just remember, Ryan Blaney deserves more credit than he's getting. I don't know who's going to win the championship. It's an interesting Final Four. Blaney, Reddick, Byron, Logano. I'd say Blaney is probably the favorite. Pray to God Logano doesn't win. Unless you want to see the downfall of the playoffs continue, then you want a Logano win. I don't. But at the end of the day, make sure Ryan Blaney gets his credit because the dude drove an unbelievable race, especially considering NASCAR tried to rip it away from him with hilariously bad officiating, and the mindset could have been broken after what happened in Miami a week ago. So Blaney deserves his credit, and we could have found a better solution for better short track racing in 2025. So there are positives here, I promise. Ultimately, when it comes down to the playoff situation, NASCAR officiating, we just want to have a race. It is such a hassle to just have a damn race anymore. And it's unfortunate with what happened on Sunday because Martinsville was a damn good race. Not a Game 7, a good fucking race. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments.